Hey, how you doing? Welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? This episode of Fatso Radio and every episode of Fatso Radio is brought to you by Volpe Martial Arts. Don't forget to check out volpemartialarts.com for more details. Normally I wear the hat. Tonight I'm not. Tonight I'm wearing the glasses. I'm wearing the stash. This big old mustache. I hope you enjoy it, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you are, you probably already like and subscribe. Thank you. Hit the notifications bell. Folks, tonight I talk about salt. What is salt? Salt's bad? Is it good? What is it? I don't know. Let's talk about it. I love you all. Peace. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great Friday night, July 2nd. Lily, take it away. Jazz hands. Let's go.
Fatso, the really great podcast show.
Fatso, our very first podcast show. Here we go. Hey, everybody, welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? My name is Carlo Volpe, and it's my pleasure to come to you each and every Friday night. And tonight is no different. Yes, I have a funny hat on, maybe. Yes, I have some funny glasses on. Yes, I have this ridiculous mustache, so don't adjust your monitors, please. This is me, Carlo Volpe, the Fatso Radio guy. We're going a little crazy today, folks. It's another Friday, nothing different. Well, nothing different. Of course, there's always something different. It's July 2nd. We just celebrated Canada Day here in the great country of Canada, the Dominion of Canada, I believe we are still. Friends, what's going on today? So I want to talk a little bit today. First of all, maybe I'll take these sunglasses off. Here we go. I want to talk today quickly about my mustache so we can get that out of the way. Maybe have a regular episode. I'm okay. I decided to have the mustache. I've been working a little bit this week, which is great. Working a lot this week. I'll be working the next couple of weeks, which is great. I decided to shave the mustache. It'd be a little funny to be to basically just make some fun. Have some fun with my girls. I had some pictures I took the other day. One of the things I've always joked about myself is that when I shave my mustache, or when I just leave a mustache, rather, when I grow a mustache even, I look like Super Mario. My friends all over, have been always telling me that. Or I look like, super Italian guy, which is funny because I'm only half Italian, but it's not just the Italian side, right? It's every side of us has the ability to grow hair. Anyway, long story short, I did that a couple days ago, and I keep it. I don't like it, to be honest with you. Even just looking at myself, I feel really weird. Maybe I'll put the sunglasses on. Anyway, even with the sunglasses, it's a even perfect kind of a character, or caricature even of just whatever, the Chips Cops, or the weirdo, I don't know, the porn stash, whatever you want to call it, the Freddie Mercury stash. But let's get to business, folks. What do I want to talk about today? I want to talk about salt. I want to talk about hydration. I want to talk about pounding salt, literally walking. The term pounding salt, we've all heard about it, right? What is it? I think it generally speaking, refers to doing a menial task or doing like a pointless thing, or just, going take off or go fly a kite. There's been a lot of different kind of variations of that. But interesting because I'm walking a lot, right? I'm delivering mail, I'm delivering packages, whatever I'm doing, but I'm walking along. When I'm on a foot route, you walk a lot, right? So anywhere in my routes, anywhere between 15 kilometers to 20 kilometers a day, sometimes less, of course, sometimes a little bit more if you're not sure what you're doing. If you're new to the route, you're just making circles because it's a job, one of those jobs where it takes a while to really learn what you're doing. Nonetheless, it's important. It's not pounding salt. It's not a meaningless task by any means because it's very meaningful. People get all their mail from us, right? So the idea, though, of salt, and why I want to talk so much about salt, because salt and hydration are so intertwined, right? So to have proper hydration, from what I've learned, from what I've studied, and from what I've experienced, to have proper hydration, you really need your electrolytes in balance. And the most important electrolyte, from what I've researched and from what I've learned and from what I've even tested out myself, to a certain extent, I mean, I haven't tested out too much on the crazy electrolyte side, but from what I've learned, salt fixes, and really it's the sodium part of salt that really fixes any issues that I have had. And I want to talk to you about the issues I've had, which are issues of dehydration. So one of the common things about dehydration, just general talking points, I guess, or general maybe education about it. Again, good time to remind everybody, I'm not a doctor. So please talk to your doctor before you make any sort of dietary changes or anything that you would consider to be, a drastic change. That being said, I do believe that drastic measures calls for drastic changes, or drastic situations sometimes call for drastic measures. So still talk to your doctor first. Okay, so a common understanding, maybe a misconception, but a common belief or common really understanding is that you need a certain amount of water to stay hydrated. And that's completely true. You do need a certain amount of water. But oftentimes people kind of forget the fact that you need a certain amount of electrolytes in your body. And what are electrolytes? Electrolytes, for the simplest way I can put them, really just some elements or some simple elements: potassium, sodium, calcium, chloride, magnesium, manganese. I'm probably missing a couple, but there's some elements that are very important in our body, and they're called electrolytes because with these elements, electricity flows through our body. I'm not kidding you. Of course, electricity flows through our body all the time, right? That's why, have you ever heard of, a defibrillator starting the heart, or correcting heartbeat, or getting the idea is that we have electricity in our body, and our heart creates electricity, and that electricity needs to flow throughout our body. So to have proper flow throughout your body, to have proper muscle contraction, to have proper nerve firings, to have proper brain activity, all of that stuff, you need these electrolytes. So not just water, right? So the water can't flow as well, or the electrical charge can't flow through the water as well unless it has these elements in it, these electrolytes in it. And the same thing with blood volume. Your blood volume has a lot to do with your water, of course, right? But you have a hard time retaining that water sometimes if your electrolytes aren't up to par, or up to wherever they need to be. And the biggest thing for that I've seen was not having my sodium at a proper level. And I want to explain that. To go back a little bit, when a lot of people start on a ketogenic diet, and again, folks, I'm not a doctor, right? But when a lot of people start on a ketogenic diet, or a lot of people when they're switching to a ketogenic diet, or a carnivorous diet, which is basically a ketogenic diet, a lot of times we'll have something like a keto flu, which for a lot of people could be a detox. It's a mix of different things, but for some people it's a detox from the sugar, or the withdrawal from the sugar. For a lot of people, it's also a drop in electrolytes, a dramatic drop in your electrolytes. And here's why. When you're burning primarily fat for fuel, you're not retaining water, and you're actually shedding a lot of water, right? And because you're not having, so the actual action of ketosis is a little bit of a natural diuretic. You're going to expel water for your vapor, you're going to pee it out, and it's a byproduct. Water is a byproduct of ketosis, right? When you're a sugar burner, you retain more water because carbohydrates just retain water. I think it's something like 3 or 4 times the amount of water that salt can retain. And on top of that, when you're having a higher carbohydrate diet, your insulin level will most likely be higher. And when your insulin level is higher, you're also going to retain more water. Different stress hormones are secreted, different stress hormones are lowered and raised, and that affects your kidneys, and your kidneys are the control center that affect your hydration in your body. So when your sodium levels are high or low, your kidneys try to balance. When your water levels are high or low, your kidneys try and balance. When your sugar levels are high or low, and your insulin levels are high or low, your kidneys try and balance. And your kidney and your liver, of course, as well. So these all play an intricate role in keeping you hydrated. And for a lot of people, if you just try and hydrate with water alone, you will actually bonk out because your electrolytes will just deplete. If you just drink water all day long, and I'm talking like if you're exercising for a while, perfect example is me. If I'm walking 10 kilometers a day, or 15 kilometers a day, or 20 kilometers a day, or even if I'm just going to walk 5 or 10 kilometers, you want to stay hydrated. So if you have a diet that you're not eating much salt, right, because you're not eating a lot of processed food, but if you are eating some processed food, it does have salt in it. So great, there's a benefit to that, right? There's more of a benefit to preserving meat than just being it being preserved. There's a benefit of meat when it's preserved or when it's cured. It becomes more bioavailable, but also it's packaged with salt. And if you're a carnivore, you need that salt. It makes complete sense to me why we've been curing meat in salt for thousands and thousands of years, probably longer than that. But it makes complete sense to me because as humans, and especially I'm one of these people that I think I need a lot of salt, a lot of sodium, or just in general, maybe electrolytes, but definitely sodium. And there's a couple different ways to tell if you are a salt sweater, I guess, or if you're a heavy excreter of salt. And I believe that it makes sense that we probably evolved with it. Maybe we needed biologically, nutritionally, but maybe in the presence of salt for so long, maybe we evolved with it to actually need it as well. So I'm not sure, but I can tell you that I've experienced kind of the dehydration where you don't think you're dehydrated, or you shouldn't be dehydrated because you've been drinking water. I've had that because of sodium, and it's happened only ever since I've gone to a ketogenic diet, since I've gone to basically living in ketosis and the carnivore diet. So it's interesting to know that even if I'm having a certain amount of salt in my food, that I still need to have salt. So right now, for an example, I heavily salt all of my food that I eat, and if it's only once a day, it's only once a day that I'm eating that salt. So I've realized now that if I'm going to eat only once a day, I need to actually supplement myself with salt. So interestingly enough, I went and bought some salt. It's not totally uncommon. People that are runners, I mean, my runner listeners out there, runner watchers, my friends out there that are runners, please let me know your take on it, because I've experienced and I've learned and I've read that runners do this, right? They take salt pills, or they make sure they have electrolyte fluids that they drink throughout races. A lot of them take, gels and carbohydrates as well, but I'm not interested in that. And so much so that when you're looking for hydration fuel, or packets or fruit drinks or whatever, most of them have sugar. Most of them have sugar. Elements, though, LMNT by Rob Wolf and somebody else, I'm not sure, the guys at Keto Gains, I believe, they came up with these LMNT drink packs. You put them in, there's no sugar, they're really good. But I didn't want to go that route either, because I wanted to just have a really convenient way to just take it whenever. So I got some pills, and I'm going to check it out. I'm going to try it. I took one this afternoon. I mean, they're 1 gram per tablet or per capsule, I guess, like gel caps, which are pretty convenient. You can just take them. You don't have to worry about drinking so much as well. One of the reasons why I did go with I'm trying to go with this route with the capsules, because I didn't necessarily want to have to drink salty liquids all day long, or electrolyte drinks all day long. And I wanted to be able to just I'm just repeating myself, but I wanted to be able to just pick up a bottle of water if I could, or if I needed to, and then just have it, knowing that I'm already taking the salt, or knowing that I can just take a salt tablet or a salt pill. So interestingly enough, when I went to the pharmacy to get it, kind of had a little humorous discussion with the pharmacist, because, as I was asking for I had to order it. They ordered it in. It came in a couple of days later, and I paid for it. $20 for 100 capsules of 1 gram each. So, I mean, it's not very, very expensive, although it is just salt. But I liked it because there's nothing else in it. There's no filler. There's nothing. It's just the gelatin cap and sodium chloride. That's it. So interestingly, when I talked to the pharmacist, she said that most of her patients ask for water pills. So the opposite of a diuretic, where I explained to her. I said, well, I've been doing a ketogenic diet, and I'm a carnivore now, and basically I just need salt when when I'm walking, or the thing is that it's not just if I wasn't doing the job that I did, if I wasn't walking all day long, or just something like in the heat, then I probably wouldn't need to buy these pills at all, quite honestly. But I take that back, because you can also maybe need these element drinks if you are not just running, but if you're working out heavily, right? Or if you're just staying active, but you're a ketogenic person, or you're a carnivore person, and you don't maybe not want to add salt to all of your food. I happen to like salt, so I can add it to all my food, and it's no problem. But if you don't want to add salt to your food, you can just take these. I don't know, see what they are. Like I said, I'm not recommending them, especially because I haven't really tried it yet, but I'm going to let you know how it turns out. But it's interesting, it kind of reminded me what kind of state we're in. And I'm not shitting on anybody, but just kind of a reminder on how most people's health is, right? And the pharmacist didn't give me any numbers, but if she's telling me that most of her customers, or most of her clients, or patients rather, would come to her for a diuretic because they're retaining too much water, right? Those patients are oftentimes hypertensive, or they're high blood pressure, or they're diabetic, or it's just a hard time. It's your kidneys, right? So if you have some sort of an ailment where it's hard on your organs, some other things can kind of go out of whack, and some other things do go out of whack. So it's interesting. I chatted with her for a couple seconds about it. I'll talk to anybody about the ketogenic diet and the carnivore way, and the fact that I need salt instead of sugar, and the fact that I need fat instead of sugar, and the fact that, it's not just me, it's a lot of people, but I found it quite interesting. And it is a reminder to me, I guess, just on how, don't forget the things that work. I guess that's what I'm trying to say with this one. Don't forget the things that work, and don't forget the little lessons you've learned along the way, because it's easy to forget. Something like something like knowing that hydration is important, knowing that drinking water is important to be hydrated, but not necessarily knowing that you also need to make sure you have that salt, right? That's something that sometimes you just don't learn until you experience it. And to experience, or to explain to you, I guess, how I experienced it, what was my experience of when I was becoming dehydrated, was I can't see anything else other than a slow shutdown of all of my muscles, slowly, right? So once it started happening, probably within an hour, if I wouldn't have stopped or got salt or got some salty water or really just stopped, I don't know. I felt like I was like, I don't know. It was weird. It's like my hamstrings were getting really tight every time I kind of took an extra step or took like any effort. Felt like they were really strong, cramping a little bit or kind of like even spasming a little bit. When I was taking some extra steps, I'd have to like really watch whether to push off from my heel or whether to use my hip or use my knee more. That kind of like the body mechanics. So it got quite scary at one point for me because I mean, it's my job, right? So I don't want to have to. I don't know. I was just it was scary. I had an experience in the wintertime when I was brand new to the job where I did have like some really bad cramping, and it was right at the end of my shift, so I was really lucky. But well, I guess people that got their bail were really lucky. But yeah, and I had to just and the massaging, it was such a bad cramp that it ended up being sore for like 3 days later in my calf. It was a weekend, so I was fine, or 2 days later rather. But it's such an eye opener because, and the point I'm trying to drive home, I guess, tonight is salt. Don't be afraid of salt, especially if you're doing a ketogenic diet, or if you're doing a carnivore diet, even if you're just dabbling in it. Salt is not the enemy. It's not the enemy. Even for people that are having a regular carbohydrate diet, regular higher carbohydrate diet, salt's still not the enemy. There are some people genetically that are showing, some studies have shown that some people actually get hypertension, or their blood pressure could be affected by salt, but most people aren't, quite honestly. And most people will find that if their energy levels are low, a little bit of salt will help them. I don't know. It's, for what it's worth, investigate it. Ask your doctor, maybe ask your nutritionist, your personal trainer, whoever you're talking with, whoever you're dealing with, to see if it works for you, especially if you're trying to get into the ketogenic diet and you're experiencing what a lot of people call keto flu. A lot of people call that keto flu, like I was saying earlier. It's a combination. I don't really know. For me, it was probably both. It was probably withdrawal from carbohydrates because my body likes carbohydrates. It really does, right? And I think everybody's body likes carbohydrates. I think we've evolved to seek them out when we get them. But my body doesn't like certain other foods. My body doesn't like breads. My body doesn't like really grains and certain vegetables. My body does not like. My body does like salt, and it needs it. And an interesting thing about salt too, I want to kind of wrap this up, but interesting thing I learned about salt. Actually, before I wrap it up, I want to talk two things. Two resources that are really good on salt and sodium and hydration and all that stuff. Rob Wolf, definitely check out Rob Wolf. The Rebel Revolution, Health Rebel Revolution. I'm not sure what it is, but just Rob Wolf, check him out. He's got an awesome podcast. I listened to it so many times. I can't believe I can't remember the name of his podcast, but him and his wife, awesome. Nikki, I believe her name is. And then also Dr. D. Nicolantonio. Check out Dr. D. Nicolantonio. I believe he has the book called The Salt Fix. Goes into the history of salt. Salt has been around for a long time. It's been a commodity. It's been used for trade. The phrase, you're worth your weight in salt, or I don't know, something about that. But it's like gold. And I understand now why it's so important. And I understand, especially in the context of a ketogenic diet. And if I think that a ketogenic diet, or the way of eating in a ketogenic style, carnivorous style, paleo style, if I think that is how we evolved, and I do happen to think that that's how we evolved, but if I think that's how we evolved, then it makes complete sense of not only why we sought out salt, right? And why we made it so valuable and why we thought it was so valuable, but why I feel like I need salt, because I feel better when I have salt. Not only do my muscles just not hurt, right, or not cramp, but I'm also going to test out a little bit of my performance as well, to see, is it 5 grams a day? Is it 8 grams a day? Some people are, I think the recommendation, the Canada Health Guide, Food Guide, or the nutritional guide, the recommended daily allowance, I think it always says around 1,500 or 2,000 milligrams, which is 2 grams a day, which in my opinion, I'll tell you, not even my opinion, if I had 2 grams of sodium a day, I would cramp up. I couldn't do my job. I just absolutely couldn't do my job. Probably if I had 3 or 4 grams, I probably still couldn't do my job. So I need quite a bit. And I'm going to try it out. We'll see how it goes. And I'm going to report back. I'm going to test out, like I said, how I'm feeling. I'm going to start with something like maybe 4 grams of sodium chloride a day. And then maybe, actually, maybe not. Maybe I'll just start with 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the morning, see how that goes. Or then we'll see how that goes. Anyway, thanks so much for listening to Fatso Radio. Thanks so much for watching Fatso Radio. Thanks for your subscription. Thanks for the likes and the comments. Thanks for sharing what I have to say. Again, Fatso Radio is not just about diet. It's always about other things. Of course, salt is part of your diet. But if you want to hear something else, let me know. If you want to hear how I got this amazing stash, talk to my parents. Maybe I'll have them on the show as well. Thanks for listening. If you've subscribed and you hit the notification bell, that will make sure that you get a hold of me. I get a hold of you. Send a notification through YouTube whenever I put a new episode out, which is every single Friday. And this Friday is no different. July 2nd. July 2nd. Thanks so much. I love you all. Peace. That's so real. Let's say bye to everybody. And we'll say thanks for listening. Say thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.